Hello. Hello, beautiful ones. How are we doing? Thank you so much for bearing with me last week. I hope you had a beautiful week, whatever you were doing. I really was overwhelmed by all your lovely messages. So thank you so much. I'm feeling much better this week. And back on form. Pleased to be here. I hope you are having a gorgeous day. So as you hop on and join me, say hello, tell me what's going on for you. Hi, Sam, beautiful, lovely to have you with me. Hi, Lou, gorgeous, beautiful to see you again. We've just been in the Reiki circle in the other room, in the other group. So lots happening today. So I won't lie, it took me I had to have a refresher this morning to figure out where we got to and what we still had to come. But hopefully you enjoyed day 1 and day 2 of Sacred Mornings. We have got something else to look at today, another practice to draw on, building on what we've already been looking at in days 1 and 2. So just to refresh your memory, if you're feeling like me and what did we do? Day 1, we started to look at the importance of mindfulness and really building that kind of curiosity mindset so that actually, as we're working through our day and coming across challenges or just moments of joy, we're able to be present and not get into stories in our heads and just look at it from a lens of curiosity with ourselves. And that includes when emotions come up, right? Or when thought processes come up, instead of just taking them as truth or allowing them to take us over, we're the ones in control in terms of they're just things that are happening in that moment. We're not identifying them as ourselves. We're just allowing them to be whatever they are. So kind of we're taking on the role of the sky and seeing those things as just weather systems that happen. That doesn't mean we are the weather systems, right? We're just the sky. So that was day 1. Day 2, we started to look at this idea of higher self. And how that kind of interacts with this idea of ego. So the ego being this identity that we've created, that we've constructed, that is our I, the part of us that we think is who we are. The truth is, it's not who we are. It's a collection of stories and beliefs and things that we've bundled together and then just said, this is me. So we do this thing where we create our identity and then hold it as truth. And this is why we can find things like change so difficult, because we're so cemented in our idea of who we are and what we can do and what's possible and what the world is about and who the people around us are. We forget that actually that's a fluid, flexible thing and it gets to change and evolve. And actually we get to be whoever we choose to be. That's really what the truth of the matter. And this ego is just the pattern of behavior that we've done over and over and over again, that we've just said that's who we are. But those patterns can change and they can evolve and they can shift and they will do over time naturally anyway. But we can also force some of those changes or make some of those changes different. And we will go into that in more detail during this process. But we also looked at this idea of higher self and this version of us that we might see as our truest sense of self, that part of us that is our inherent nature, that actually already knows it's abundant and lives in an abundant world and anything is possible. And we just desire to help from this space, right? Because we can see we're all one and we can see that we're all just doing the best we can with what we've got. So we looked at how we could step into that higher self And one of the ways that we did that was using that gateway of gratitude, that gateway of opening up our heart space so that we're not closing down from the world and we're not closing down from ourselves. And we started to pose questions like, how can I help? How can I be of service? From this place of being, like our cup already being full, because we've already acknowledged just how lucky we are. No matter how difficult our life might feel at the moment or how challenging it might feel, we're inherently so lucky, right? The fact that we've even got the ability to connect in this way just shows that we're luckier than 99% of the population. Sam, lovely. Since your dad passed away, your anxiety has come back and you've had it under control for 6 years. So you're working to get yourself under control again. Beautiful. That is a natural part of the grieving process. And so what I would say is be gentle with yourself, right? You're going through a lot. One of the ways that someone once described grief or heartbreak to me was it's what happens when love has got nowhere to go. And I just thought, oh, what a beautiful way of looking at it. And so, yeah, be gentle with yourself. So today, day 3, what we are going to be looking at, and again, I'm going to try and keep it succinct the best I can, is this idea of Dharma. And Dharma from a Vedic lens, not Dharma from a Buddhist lens, which is a slightly different concept, and we won't be going into that today. But Dharma, this idea, well, it's a Sanskrit word. And actually it has many different interpretations. It can mean duty in the respect of like your duty to your family, your duty to the world, the society that you live in. And in a way, I quite like the way that's connected, because Dharma also represents this idea of our purpose here on this planet, the reason we were incarnated, the reason we were born. And I like to align it to that word of duty, because actually it is my duty to show up as the fullest version of me, because this is what nature intended, right? And so when we are showing up as the fullest version of us, following that which lives within us, those things that we feel called to do, those things that we're inherently good at, those things that just light us up and just feel amazing in our body as we do them or share them with the world. When we're doing that, we're fulfilling our duty, our purpose here on this planet. Now, not everyone resonates with this idea of Dharma. So whether you do or don't, what I would say is I believe, and it's been shown in many different schools of psychology, that in order to have a happy, fulfilling, a life that lights us up, we have to have some kind of purpose, some reason for being. Now, that doesn't mean it's got to be this big kind of Las Vegas shiny light purpose, right? It doesn't mean that your purpose is necessarily to build a multi-million pound empire. It doesn't mean that your Dharma is necessarily to help millions of people around the world. It might be that your Dharma is to be the most amazing mother to the children that you have. And it's that because that's all you ever care about. And it comes from this place of heart open. You don't feel any resentment. You just feel like you're in flow, and that's exactly what you were born to do. And it just makes you feel really good as you're doing it. saying that parenting's tough, right? So, but you have this inherent sense. That's it. That's why I'm here. This is my purpose. And so on that basis, there is no, purpose that's better or worse than any other. What's important is that we're living a life that is aligned to who we are, that is true to who we are. And one of the ways this really dropped through for me, one of the ways this really made sense for me was I was on a meditation retreat, and I had this moment where I just had such clarity on this in relation to nature. And one of the things that I realized within my being is that if trees, I know I've mentioned this before, and it's such a weird analogy, but bear with me. If trees behaved like I did at that time internally, a willow tree would be sat there going, oh, I wish I was an oak tree. I wish I had the width of an oak tree. I wish I had that height of an oak tree. I wish my leaves looked like that, because this is what I was doing internally. I was constantly to myself going, oh, you should be better at that. If you were just a bit more like that, if you could just do that a bit better, if you could, it was all fix, do, be something else, be better. And I just had this moment, and it was almost quite humorous. I just thought, God, how hilarious would it be if like the oak trees were all busy trying to be willow trees, and all the willow trees were busy trying to be oak trees, and all the daffodils were busy trying to be snowdrops. And I thought, God, this is what I've been doing. I've been trying to be an oak tree instead of appreciating, I was the willow tree, or I should say the holly bush, that would make more sense, right? But instead, I was saying, oh, you should be more organized, Holly. Why are you not more organized? You should be more concerned with this thing. Why are you so concerned with that thing? I'm also a naughty tree. I love that. So you see, and I think a lot of us do this, especially if we're drawn to like the personal development stuff, if we're drawn to the spiritual stuff, the well-being stuff. One of the like traps we can find ourselves in is we're so busy trying to be something else that we forget to be us, that we forget to own who we are, that we forget to really live our gifts and natural talents. And then we shove into the mix a society that, and I go on about society a lot, but just say there's many good things about our society too. I want you to know I do appreciate the positives of our society. But if you think you throw into the mix like an education system that from a very young age we're taught we should be good at everything, right? You need to be good at maths, you need to be good at English, you need to be good at science, and then we're going to test you on all of that. And actually those things that you think you enjoy, like for me, it was art, drama, business. I really enjoyed business. Technology, like I enjoyed like woodwork and stuff like that. To be fair, I used to get like the lads in the class to do like the physical stuff, and I'd do more of the designing. I like the whole designing things, and which is kind of like the business I do, right? I design programs and then like bring them to life. But you sat me in a chemistry class, my brain was just like, I can't do this. It was like, I can't pay attention long enough because I didn't care. That was the thing. I didn't care. But I kept telling myself, I should care. I should want to know this more. I should be able to retain this information. I should be able to remember this. And then I would get really frustrated with myself and beat myself up and feel really rubbish about who I was. I also used to, get told off in class a lot. Well, not a lot. Well, yeah, a fair lot for two things. I always, don't get me wrong, I always try to do as I was told most of the time, and you know, do the work and those sort of things. But the things that I really struggled with was not talking anyone else. Every like parents' evening, it'd be, she'd do better if she stopped talking so much. I couldn't help it, right? I'd sit next to someone, and often my natural way of being was to, you know, talk to people. How are you doing? What's going on for you? And then they'd tell me about what was going on for them. We'd work it through. This was my class, and this is what I do. This is what I'm naturally good at. I'm naturally good at listening and helping people work through their problems from a place of non-judgment. That just comes easy to me. That's what I, you know, it feels natural. But for many years, I was told that wasn't okay, and I shouldn't be doing that, and I should be doing something else. So for a long time, I suppressed that part of me, or I didn't value that part of me. I didn't see that as worthy, because actually during school, I was told it wasn't. The other thing I got in trouble for was laughing a lot. I like to laugh, but I think you need humor, right? If you're talking to people about their problems, you need to balance. You need that balance of humor. But again, wasn't appreciated at school. And then I think of, like, you know, things that I was told by my parents about, you know, I have, you know, great parents in many ways, but, you know, those little messages that I received, and it was coming from a place of love, but, you know, don't dream too big. Don't, you know, you've got to squeeze yourself into something else. You know, that's not a good career path. You know, those sort of messages that made me doubt myself over and over again. Oh, okay, so who I am is not enough. Right. Okay, so who I am is not enough. Right. So I have to be something else then. And so I spent most of, certainly my 20s, in that space of trying to be something else, trying to be better, trying to be like other people, trying to be what society wanted me to be. And the irony being that in that process, I lost the part that made me brilliant at what I was, the bit that was my natural dharma, the bit that was my natural purpose, the reason I'm here, which is all of those things that I'd been perhaps criticized for or told were not good. And it's funny because I look at my life now, and because of the healing journey I'd been on, and the bits that I started to accept back of myself and say, no, actually, there is a gift in that, and there is a gift in that. The more I could start owning those things, the better I was able to be who I was born to be. The more I was able to live my dharma. The more I started to trust those things that filled me with joy and excitement and interest, and pursue those things and not care whether other people got it. The more I could do that, the better able I was to serve. And not from a place of, look at me, I'm doing amazing, but from a place of, we all have a special role to play in our society, in our world. And we can only do that if we truly own who we are. And what I would say is, yeah, of course, there's shadows to all of those things. There's sides to those things that, yeah, of course you can criticize. Like, say, I've had much criticism for many of the things that I now consider my gifts. But I wanted to kind of start planting this seed of, okay, so if you knew you were here for a purpose, like the same way a bee has a purpose, where it goes round and, you know, gets the pollen, and because of the way that the bee travels around, that actually creates or impacts the whole of the ecosystem, right? If bees disappeared, we would not be here. So can you imagine if a bee one day just said, well, I'm not doing that anymore because I don't think it's right, and, you know, went against everything that felt natural to them? It's our kind of duty to show up as the person we were born to be, as the person that we love to be naturally. I'm hoping that makes sense to you, because I know my analogies are somewhat off, you know, away with the fairy sometimes. But I wanted to invite you to start thinking about this. Oh, okay, so if I had a purpose, if there was a reason I have these natural abilities, these things that I naturally feel drawn to, these things I naturally feel good at, or are good at, and they may be things that aren't measurable, right? They may be things that perhaps the school system said were bad. They might be things that your parents tried to teach you out of. There may be things that you criticize yourself for. But half the time it's because we're not working in harmony with them. Because like I say, if I look now, talkative, well, I couldn't do my business if I wasn't talkative, right? I wouldn't be able to show up on Facebook and talk for an hour. God, it's already been 22 minutes. If I wasn't good at listening, then, you know, I wouldn't be a very good coach. I wouldn't be a very good business mentor. I wouldn't be a very good teacher. So, and these are things that I find quite natural. If I wasn't creative, which, you know, if you look at the things that I did well at in school, they were all the creative subjects. There's no way I'd be able to like create products, create content, create like lessons and training that I hope will resonate and make sense to you. If I wasn't interested in the way that people tick and what makes us do the things that we do, and you know, different philosophies and religions, then actually none of this would work in my business. So actually, once I could bring all those things together, this business was like a no-brainer. It was like, well, of course that's what I'm doing, because I love business, I love communication, I love helping people, I love what I'm learning, like what I'm teaching. Well, of course, it was just like oh, there you go, that's my purpose. So the practice I wanted to kind of share with you today is building on those questions that we started to plant within our heart space in day 2 practice. And for this, you're going to need a journal and some paper. So I invite you to get a journal and paper and pen, or journal and pen, whatever makes sense to you. Because after we'll do a little bit of a revisit of day 1 and day 2 practices, and then we're going to do some journaling together, but journaling from the point of view of lifting that energy, lifting it into your Dharma, lifting your kind of confidence around those things. So actually you can use that energy as you go into your day, and you can stay on track, and you can be purposeful as you show up in the world and do the things that you need to do, and have that perspective, which is really it's going to really serve you as part of your morning practice. And if this is something that you particularly struggle with, then I would certainly recommend you have this as part of your morning practice and come back to it time and time and time again. Okay, I'm going to give you a moment to get your pen and paper while I have some tea. Tam, beautiful, lovely to have you here. I hope you're having a good day. And you love trees and bees. Me too. I went camping on Saturday night, just to go a bit off topic. But isn't it amazing, nature? Like I'd felt like I could feel that heaviness sitting on me after like being poorly last week. and some friends of ours have a camper van too. And so we took our camper vans and went down the beach and had a bonfire and looked at the moon and the sea. And I just thought, oh, just what my soul needed. And I tell you what, that was the last bit of medicine I needed to get over that virus I had last week. Okay. So hopefully you've got your pen and paper, and we're going to do a quick revisit of last week's practices, or day 1 and day 2 practices. So I invite you to take a moment to get comfy, find that straight spine. And as and when you're ready, gently closing your eyes, bringing that awareness to the breath in the belly. And just to help ourselves relax, taking in a nice deep breath, filling up the front, the sides, and the back of the lungs. Holding it at the top just for a moment. And then letting go of any stress and tension with a bit of a sigh. And doing that again, nice deep breath in. Really filling up that belly area. Holding it at the top, allowing that tension to build just a little bit. And letting it go with a bit of a sigh. And doing that again, one last time. Nice deep breath in, pulling any of the tension from your body into the lungs so that you can let it go with a bit of a sigh. And then we're just going to have a quick check-in with the emotional body. What emotions are present for you today? And can you just allow yourself to feel them without feeling like you need to justify them or explain them? Just feel the sensation of them. Feel where they're living in the body. And giving them room to shift and change. No need to label them. No need to even know what they are. And then shifting that awareness into the mental body, noticing what the mind is doing, if anything at all. Maybe it's busy, maybe it's quiet. And no need to label those thoughts as right, wrong, good, bad. We're just noticing. allowing it to be whatever it is. No judgment required. And then shifting that awareness to the physical body. Noticing what physical sensations feel present for you in this moment. And again, no need to attach labels like pain or discomfort. Seeing if you can just be with the sensation. And then we're going to bring our awareness to this heart space area. You may want to put your hands on your heart. This can be a nice way to connect into here. And we're going to start thinking about the things that we feel truly grateful for right now. And that can be anything. Something as big as the people in your life to as small as the sensation of drinking your favorite cup of tea. Something as grand as a sunset or the full moon. Or just the feeling of laying in your bed with your cozy duvet on a cold winter's night. Allow those things to come to you, those things that generate that feeling of how lucky am I to be able to have these experiences, to have these things or people in my life. And keep that going until you can really feel that sensation of gratitude in your body. Remembering gratitude needs to be felt, not listed. And see if you can allow that feeling to expand. With nothing more than your attention or intention, can you allow it to get stronger, bigger, infused with every cell of your being till you just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. How lucky am I? Thank you. Till you almost want to burst. And from this place, asking, how can I serve? How can I give back? From this place of knowing, I'm so lucky. How can I be of service to this world? How can I be of service to this world? And bringing that sensation back with you as you open your eyes, picking up your pen and paper. And that is the first question I want you to journal. How can I be of service to this world? And when I say journal, we're not thinking here. Allow the words to flow through you. How can I be of service to this world? And just see what comes out. Initially, it might be, I don't know what to write. I don't know how to be of service. But see what comes through. So question 1, how can I be of service to this world? And I'm going to do it with you. Because I know how easy it is to say, I'm going to come back to this later, and then you don't. I seem to have like the noisiest paper in the world. I'm going to change notebooks because it's distracting me. How can I be of service to this world? If you run out of things to say, asking yourself, and what else? And what else? And what else? Question number 2. What are my inherent gifts? We're not worried about modesty here. Park any modest part of you. We're just going to come from that place of higher self. This isn't about ego. What are my inherent gifts? If I was being really objective, what do I find easy that others find difficult? What comes naturally to me? What do I love to do? What interests me? What's my inherent gifts? Question number 3. I am running through these quite fast, but hopefully starting to get your cogs working and you can come back to them. Question number 3. If I was fully owning these gifts, how would I be living differently? If I was fully owning these gifts, so fully utilizing these gifts, utilizing them to the best of your ability, how would you be living differently? Take some time to journal on that one. And your final question is, what action can I take today? No, what action can I take towards that life today? What action can I take towards that life today? I'm going to give you some time to complete that question. And when you've got your action, I would love for you to share it in the comments. I would love for you to have that, oh, there's something when we pop it in the comments, right? That it's like that fully, yeah, I'm doing this. It's like that commitment when you start sharing it with the world. So I'm putting this down in writing. I'm sharing this with the world. So I would love to know if there's anything else that came up for you from those questions that you want to share as well in the comments. I would love to hear from you. I think this is such an important part. If we're feeling lost, or if we're feeling we're in that heavy winter energy, and it can be really hard to get our mojo going and our motivation going. And coming to questions like this can really spark that energy of, yes, what I have to offer is important. What I do is important. The way or the life I want to build is important. And when we can step into our day with that certainty, with that feeling of what I do matters, then actually it's so much easier to take the action, even if the actions we're taking are scary or big or boring. Yeah, I can do my accounts when I know it's part of this bigger purpose. I can figure out tech when I know it's contributing to this bigger thing. But it goes for everything, right? Whether it's the job that you do, or the way that you parent, or the way that you work with your partner or husband, or the way you create that relationship, or the values you install in your family. Just having that perspective shift of, God, this is important. Yeah, this is worth doing. It's worth taking the action. It's worth having that it's worth me making the effort. Having a purpose to work towards is so important. And what I would say is the quality of your life comes down to the quality of the questions that you ask yourself. And that's quite a bold statement, but it's really true. And I'll share a little story here. I've been working with a client. I had a client call today with someone, and we could see there was a resistance going on with her taking the action that will move her business forward. And when we got down to it, it was because actually, if she was being honest with herself, the business that she said she wanted wasn't really the business that she wanted. She had a vision of a business that she thought she should have, instead of the business that she really wanted. So the truth is, when we start getting honest with ourselves about what it is we really want, who we really are, the impact we get to have on this world from being fully us, then from that place, action feels easy and aligned and beautiful and exciting. So I invite you to play with this and play with these questions. Let me see. Tam, you've got a big to-do list by the sounds of it. Send an email to work and take on more to make room for my Dharma, speak to a person who can help me further with your goals and personal and professional development, write every day, commit to it, welcome Pete and Lynn at every opportunity. And I know exactly what you're talking about. So I'm excited for you. Lovely. That sounds amazing. For those of you watching on replay, please interact like you were here live with us. So let us know. I love to come back and look at the comments and see what action you are taking. And this kind of builds on this point of that I was talking about last week, or I posted about last week, which is often we think spiritual work is how many tools we collect, how many practices we collect, how many things we know how to do, how many. Don't get me wrong, I've got a big collection, right? I've been doing this for a while. I know many different meditations. I know many different breath works. I know many different philosophies. I know many different practices. But actually, those things are meaningless if we don't start integrating them into our life, if we don't take the medicine from them, if we don't then take action from what it is that we've learned. So spirituality or spiritual practices shouldn't be this thing that's just kept separate. Our meditation is not what we do on the meditation pillow, right? Our meditation pillow is practice for life. Our breath work is practice for life. And our journaling is to help us live better. So, am I doing breathwork again soon? Tam, we will be doing a breathwork exercise in here tomorrow, which is a little bit different. I don't think I've shared it before, so that might be something different. But I haven't got a breathwork core. Well, I don't want to give too much away. I may have something coming up later in the year. We may have something coming up. But it's not going to be a short course. That I will say. I'm not very good at keeping secrets, am I? I've got some exciting things coming up inside the Medicine Woman Collective this year in terms of new programs. Breathwork is going to be one of them. So there we go. I've just kind of let the cat out of the bag. But for now, today is all about asking yourself those quality questions to build the quality life that you deserve, and take the quality action that will get you there. So I hope you have found this useful. Feel free to play with those questions, feel free to adapt them. But what I would say is with journaling, often we can find that we want to go surface level. So we ask ourselves like really big picture questions. But the real medicine from journaling comes when we start digging down deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. So as you will see with those questions, it was like big picture, down, 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 down. And what action am I taking from this? Because if we're not careful, it's all airy fairy. It's all just contemplation, and we're not getting the real juice from it, which is, what can I do with this? How is this going to help me? So remember, whatever questions you ask yourself, to include something of, and what am I doing with this? What's the action I'm taking? How am I putting this into practice? Because we need this action in order to see anything change. All right, lovelies, I've gone so over. I was trying to keep these around half an hour. We've gone to an hour today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for day 4, where, like I mentioned, we've got a breathwork practice, but it's not breathwork for the sake of breathwork. You've probably established by now, I don't believe in practices for the sake of practices. Practices are meant to give us something. They're meant to help us in some way. And these 7 days are all practices that will set us up for a beautiful day, abundant days that are going to give us the best out of our days. So with that, we'll be looking at a breathwork practice we can use to really tap into that and utilize. So I hope you can join me for that, 3 p.m. tomorrow. Otherwise, reach out if you need anything. Remember to comment anything that comes through for you, and I'll come back and look. And if you need anything, feel free to reach out on Messenger to me. We've got an issue with our email systems at the moment because we're changing over to a new server provider. I say that like I know what I'm talking about, because we've had a number of issues. So I've said to the team, like, just switch now, figure out a way to sort it out. And luckily they're doing it because I've got an amazing team. So if you need me, reach out on Messenger. Otherwise, I will see you in here tomorrow. Take care of yourselves. Have a gorgeous evening. I will see you soon.